Nothing
Big Brother.
quite hits the same like Pressure Luck used to. You know what I mean? Bring back old good game shows. I don't need to see people inside a cube with Dwayne Wade. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't do it for me.
But he's charismatic.
I guess. Like yeah, sure.
We can't just have all giants. We're kind of small guys.
Like he's got to get him. He's got to get him.
We got to pack it up. He said, because if we don't get it, somebody else is going to get it.
And drink straight out the bottle.
Cheers.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Welcome to the most talked about podcast in the No Network history. Welcome to...
I don't know.
Nothing.
You got me.
Nothing?
I don't know, man.
Nothing?
I don't know.
Come on. Oh.
And you know what? You know what's sad?
Who
I'm gonna
ever
know
knows
as soon.
podcasts? Well,
That's all I was supposed to say.
Okay. That's all you were supposed to say, I'll be honest. So, guys, I was starting this one different today. Obviously, we always start with the let me talk to you. And then obviously I'd be like, hey, welcome to Whoever Knows Podcast, episode blah, 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 blah. Obviously, guys, welcome to the Whoever Knows Podcast. We're very thankful that you're with us. We have a lot to talk about tonight. We just came off of the Saints podcast. It was just, man, we went down a rabbit hole. But getting
Can I
at
explain what happened there?
to open this show. Hold on, and then you can. Getting at what I was just doing to open this show, I told Dave before we hopped in, I said, hey, I'm going to make a wrestling reference to start this thing off, and I'm hoping you get it, and I'm hoping you roll with it. So what I pulled from there was the Miz TV intro. Welcome to the most talked about.
I don't care about the Miz.
What is it? Blah, 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 in WWE history. Welcome to Miz TV. I don't even like the Miz, but come on, he's credible.
What happened was I wasn't thinking to say the Whoever Knows podcast. I was thinking of what the wrestling reference was to try to, because I thought that's what I was going to have to say. So it just completely went over my head that I should have said Whoever Knows podcast.
So I stumped Dave 5 seconds into the podcast. You're welcome, world.
Not hard to do.
We are good to go, man. We are good to go. It has been a fun time. Dave recorded without me last week, and I am sincerely appreciative of that. I had a week off, and now we're back, and we're going to tackle the most random topics. This is a podcast where we talk about everything and nothing all at the same time. And if you have been with us forever, you know that. And if you're new to us, thank you. Welcome. Join on this glorious ride. We are characters, and we talk about everything. I'll be honest. So, Dave, you said you had some topics. There's some things I could bring up. Tonight we'll probably talk about, we just killed the Saints topic, so I don't know if we're going to talk about that again. We might talk Pelicans. We might talk wrestling. We might talk, I don't know. I'm not even going to guess. Let's just get into it. Dave, what are you thinking, man? What's on your mind?
Well, first off, I kind of wanted to just hear about your day. I think that's a good way to start. I mean, you started off your day in an explosive fashion, so I'd like to hear about that to start off the pod.
I did, man. I did. Look, I woke up this morning. Every morning I go through a routine, okay? Every morning is very, very similar. And maybe most, typical Americans are the same way. I don't know. You live in the American dream. I know I think I am. I wake up every morning. I get up with my daughter. I cook her breakfast. We go through our routine of breakfast. I get her ready. I jump into my first meeting of the day. I kick it off. Well, we have breakfast. Everything's fine. I start cooking her lunch. And in my head, I'm like, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have cooked lunch today. She's got a Christmas party at school. Fine. None of this has to do with anything I'm getting at, but I'm going through the whole story here, right? So I put that away. I put it in the fridge. We got cold food for later. Cool. We'll eat it for dinner. She'll have it for dinner. It's fine. I go upstairs to start getting her ready. We get her ready, and I come back down. I get all ready for my first meeting of the day, and I decide to go back upstairs and talk to my wife, who's now getting out of bed. As I'm standing in my master bedroom talking to my wife, my daughter's there, all of a sudden I hear this loud, loudest boom I've heard in my whole life. The whole house shakes, and I'm like, my wife looks at me. She's like, "What happened?" I'm like, I don't know. And in my head, I'm thinking so many things. I'll be honest. I'm like, did a transformer blow? No, I've heard that before. It wasn't that loud. My house never shook. I'm just going through the motions. I peek out the window, man, and I'm telling you, I see smoke. I'm talking like big black clouds of smoke, 30 feet high, coming above the trees. It's crazy. So being the white guy in the horror movie, I decide I'm going to go downstairs and go outside and walk down. We've got this little path that goes over this little stream. And I'm like, okay, this is like 100 yards from my house where this explosion happened. I decide I'm going to go walk over there and see what's going on. And as I'm walking, I hit the tree line and I can finally see what's in the smoke. And I see flames. I mean, flames 20 feet high. And I'm like, good God. And as I'm getting closer, there's another boom. And then I hear what sounds like a gunshot. And I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. So I go back to the house. I decide I'm just going to stay there with the family for a minute, and then I see fire trucks roll up and all stuff. So I go back over there. Turns out, long story short, kind of anticlimactic. It was a garbage truck. A garbage truck had exploded. Man, there was flames higher than I've ever seen in my life, and it was loud and it shook my whole house. And I'll be honest, it was wild. And I know that that's not as cool as it could have been. But that's what happened. I know everybody's probably got a question. Hey, what happened to the people in the truck? Apparently, my neighbor was behind them, and it was smoking for a while. And the guys jumped out. They ran away. Nothing happened. Everybody's fine. But yeah, wild morning, and we just wasted 10 minutes of this podcast to talk about it. So appreciate you sticking with me on that one.
You thought you were about to be on one of those like Twitter videos where like the meth house explodes down the street or something.
Yeah,
that's
no,
what I'm
legitimately
interested in. Is what did you think could have happened of all the outcomes that you thought that was going to be? I need to know what the wildest one you thought was.
My first thought, no lie, I was like, did a plane crash? What happened? Like I was thinking like these single. I feel like I've heard it or seen it so many times. The second thought was it looked like it was in the very next neighborhood next to me where the smoke and everything was coming from. It's connected to our neighborhood. I was like, man, did that first house, like, did it blow up? Like, did something happen? Was it a meth house? I don't know. Did the house implode? You've been seeing it more and more on Twitter. I follow all these random accounts and I see all this crazy stuff. Even deeper, once I start walking closer and I heard what I thought was gunshots, I'm like, was this a hit in the middle of Covington, in the middle of white America? Which sounds terrible. I get it. I'm not trying to make it that way. But like, this is the most like, down home, like, very basic white folk, simple people area. Not simple. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, I don't know. It was just like, man, did somebody just get killed? Were they trying to kill him with a bomb and they missed, so they shot him? Like, is there a shootout happening? So yeah, it was a wild time. Turns out it was just garbage truck blowing up.
What a time.
That's it.
I love that. Yeah, no, I needed to know. You told us about that this morning. I had to have details. Like, you can't just drop in, hey, a fire truck or a garbage truck exploded, and then not expect follow-ups there. But I decided to save them for here.
Yeah, I also told my work. It was like 5 minutes before the kickoff meeting of the day, and I'm like, guys, I never thought I would say this in a Slack channel to start my day. There was an explosion outside of my house, and I don't think I'm going to make the first meeting of the day. I'm just letting y'all know. And they were like, what?
You had anything else you wanted to talk about, or you want me to just kind of get into some random thoughts I had, or some random things that I came up with, and let's just rock and roll?
I also have random thoughts. You know how my brain works. So if you would like to go first, you can. But if you want me to just jump into something, I have a question for you.
Go ahead. You go. We could popcorn this.
Okay, I have a question. It's not a sports question, guys. If you're here for sports, I'm sorry. Well, it might be slightly sports. We'll see. What's the better movie series? All right, I'm going to name two. You can give me another. I want to know the better movie series. I just randomly thought of this. Hunger Games or Rocky? What do you got?
I like Hunger Games.
Hunger Games?
I like the Hunger Games. I don't know what it is about the Rocky movies. Like, I feel like the real Rocky movies are a little bit before my time. Like, obviously I've seen them. I feel like because I experienced so if you said the Creed series versus the Hunger Games series, I know the Creed series is part of the Rocky series.
It is.
It is. I think I go with the Hunger Games because I think I just experienced it as it was happening. And those movies are good, man.
They're really good. And you know what made me think of this? I was getting ready for the Thursday night football game tonight. And I'm looking through my TV, and before I get into Amazon Prime, there was a reminder came up that the new Hunger Games prequel was on there, and I could watch it. And I was like, damn, I forgot there was even a prequel. I really want to watch that. I haven't had a movie come out in a long time where I'm like, man, I really want to watch that. And that's one that I haven't watched it yet, but I saw the reminder earlier, and I was like, dang, I really want to watch that. And it's because I really loved the whole Hunger Games series. And it got me thinking, I was like, is there another series out there that I like more than Hunger Games? And I know that's saying a lot, right? And so I wanted to ask you, and the first one I thought it was Rocky. And then I started going down the rabbit hole of Rocky. And I was like, man, there's so many good movies in Rocky. Like, is it Hunger Games? Is it Rocky? I think it's Hunger Games. I really, really like the Rocky series, but I think it's Hunger Games. But then I thought deeper, and if we're just talking sports series, Major League has some great movies. Those are just all-time classic comedies, right? And there's probably some others I'm not thinking of. This is literally just off the dome here.
I'm trying to
That's
think
my
also of other
that's my
ones that might
contribution to the
be.
podcast tonight.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other like movie series that get me excited every time one comes out. The first other one that comes to mind is Planet of the Apes. I love
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes. That's one that I always get excited about, but not better than the Hunger Games to me. But
Mhm.
it is one I get excited about. For me, I think the way I'm looking at it as there's some subpar movies in the Rocky series, right? Or and I don't think the Hunger Games missed. Like I think the Hunger Games was batting 1,000. You know what I mean? So it just makes it just now there's less of them. What is there 3? Is there only 3?
Yeah. Well, Hunger Games now, I believe there's 4, but I haven't seen the 4th one technically, and that's a prequel. So I don't know if we
Yeah,
include
yeah.
that. And I mean, listen,
Well, that's
we're
what I'm
also
saying. If you
ignoring the most obvious Star Wars. Like most people are going to be like,
Yeah,
"How
well,
did you leave Star
I've
Wars
never
out?" I'm
seen Star
sorry,
Wars. I'll
guys.
be 100% honest with you. I think some people would be in the comments saying Harry Potter would like a word,
That's fair too. That's also fair.
and probably some
Eh,
Lord of the Rings people also, which I've never been a Lord of the Rings guy either. So I can't talk about Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. But you got
as we
you got
go
some of these
through
ones.
here, now I'm realizing I might have messed up. I might have messed
I
up.
kind of want to look this up and just look up other movie series and see what I'm missing.
I
We'll
might
have
have
to. You know
messed
what?
up. I
This is what we'll do. I want to. We'll finish this part of the conversation, but after the pod or during the week, kind of do a little research, and then we'll put out a little list at the end,
let's do
and
it.
we'll each come up with our top 3, 5, whatever, and we'll put it out. I think
I
that'll
love
be
it.
good.
I love
Yeah,
it.
I'm trying to.
Other than that, the only thing I want to
Are
talk
there?
about is and you killed it last week. First of all, did you have a
Thanks,
question
man.
before I move on?
Oh, I was just wondering if there. You said that there hasn't been any movies in a while that you've been like looking forward to, and for me, it's kind of been the same way ever since
Mhm.
Avengers. Ever since the last Avengers movie ended, I haven't been super excited about movies coming out. Honestly, like I got more excited to go see the new Paw Patrol movie with my son to like experience his first movie experience that I have about any movie in a long time. There's so my favorite like horror movie of all time is The Strangers, and there's a remake of it coming out next year, which I'm super like I'm excited about that. And it's honestly the first movie that I'm like really excited about seeing in a while. So it made me think of that, and I'm wondering if there's any other ones that you're kind of looking forward to.
No, man, and I don't know if it's old age. I don't know if it's just where I am in my life right now, but I don't pay a lot of attention to movies that are coming out, and I don't know. Like I wish there was more. There's probably like series. There's probably series that are coming out. There's a shoot. I can't remember the Marvel character. The deaf Marvel character. You know what I'm talking
Echo,
about? The girl.
Echo,
Echo.
yeah,
There's a series coming out on Disney Plus that I want to watch called Echo,
yeah,
which I've
that'll be
seen the
good.
previews for. It might be out already. I don't even know. That's how bad I am. Like I don't keep up with the release dates. That's something I want to watch.
There's a Mr. and Mrs. Smith show coming out with Donald Glover as Mr. Smith, which is that's going to be good because it's him. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But you know what it is? You know what I think the reason for this is? All of my excitement for movies, as most people, come from trailers, right? So
Mhm.
unless you're not, and I'm sure you're the same way as me, you're not watching cable TV anymore,
No,
and you're not catching trailers. Like they're running these trailers during people watching America's Got Talent, for example. In between commercial breaks of America's Got Talent, they're dropping trailers. Like all these big cable TV shows, that's where they're dropping the trailers. So unless you catch them on social media from some random account that's dropping all the recent trailers, or if it's being promoted on social media, you're not seeing these trailers anymore. So now all of a sudden, this new movie's coming out, and you're like, "This is out already? Where were the trailers? So what is this about? I had no idea this was coming." That's my theory.
first of all, America's Got Talent is still on TV.
Oh, I don't
Is
know.
that
I'm just
that's
using it
still?
as an example. No, it's probably it's all during like the Masked Singer or something like that, I'm assuming.
Even that. So that's a whole nother conversation. Like the reality TV these days, and it's not. I don't fault people who watch it. I don't watch it. We may watch it soon. We probably should. We want to start a whole series where we watch reality TV. But I don't get the I don't get I don't get what's in it for me. Like I don't get the entertainment factor from it.
It
So I
it
don't watch it. So I don't even know what
it
it is.
just feels like it's nothing but like random singing competitions. It feels like these days they're just trying to come up with new ways to guess who the person is. Like this new one that I haven't seen but I heard about, where you're like guessing the relative or like who their relative is. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, yeah. I heard about
Like
that.
I don't what
I
are
know
we
what you're
doing?
talking about.
Are we just out of ideas? Like I don't know. I can't get behind any of these competitions anymore. They're just not. It's not for me. Like they never really were for me. Like I've never been an American Idol fan. I kind of was. I never really cared about The Voice. The only like reality or game show I ever really liked was Big Brother. And other than that, like I've never been into any of them. Nothing
Big
quite
Brother.
hits the same like Pressure Luck used to. You know what I mean? And,
Pressure
and
Luck.
those kind of game shows. Bring
Pressure
back
Luck.
old good game shows.
Please.
I
What
don't
was your
care about
favorite-
people
what was your
inside a
favorite
queue.
old game show?
Favorite old game show. That one's up there, but it's more like because my mom always enjoyed watching it, so it was something we watched together. Pressure Luck is one of my favorites. I think I don't like the ones that require you to like be smart. Like I can't do those. Um, like nothing makes me feel more accomplished than when I know an answer on Jeopardy. Yeah, I think that might be my favorite. I'm sure I'm blanking on them, but like I don't need to see people inside a cube with Dwayne Wade. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't do it for me.
But he's charismatic.
I guess. Like yeah, sure.
No, if I gotta go with a favorite, I'm probably going The Price is Right. Like, let's be honest, Price is Right is up there. That
Yeah.
and like Family Feud, and I know they're both old, but come on. And Steve Harvey
Yeah.
I know there's so much before Steve Harvey on Family Feud, and they were still good. Steve Harvey has just elevated that whole show. Like to this
Absolutely.
day, people know
Absolutely.
what Family. Even young kids, they're like, oh yeah, like
I
yeah,
tell you
Price
what.
is Right for me. Bob Barker especially.
Price is Right and I think Price is Right has gone the opposite direction with Drew Carey. I've never been a big Drew Carey fan.
Yeah.
No, I think you might be right with the Price is Right because we went to Chuck E. Cheese and they got a Plinko game, and I still get excited at any chance to play Plinko. So I think you're right.
100%. Give me the puck. Let me just drop it.
Yeah.
I just want to spin the wheel one time, man. I want to get $1.
Just
Let me
once.
get $1.
Just
once. I want to see if I can do it. There's a strategy to it. I'll figure it out as I go. Give me 2 spins.
That's the thing. Like,
Spinner.
I would have sucked at it as a kid. Like, I knew that because like I didn't shop. But now that I'm an adult and I do all the shopping, although if you ask me what the price of a gallon of milk is, I couldn't tell you. Dude, I need groceries. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the price is. I'm just swiping the card.
I think about too much too. They'll be like, "Oh, this blah 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 car with blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Yeah, what's the package? What is it like? What does it have?"
No
like,
one ever asks that question.
Like, I want to know all these things because I'm like, if I don't know it, that's like a $15,000 difference. Okay, you could be.
Well, here's the other thing. Do I want to be stuck with this Toyota Corolla? Like,
right. As a kid, I was like, "Oh, that's such a cool piece. You can cruiser."
And you think you just get in this car, but then as you get older, and you're like when you're in high school or whatever, before you really learn about taxes, you're like, "Oh, I'll just win it and sell it." And now you're like, "Shit, I gotta pay the taxes, like regardless." Like, I don't want those problems.
Right.
You can keep it. Now, give me the trip to Bermuda or whatever. Like, I'm here for that. Like, always here for the trip. I don't care where it's at.
Yep, that's all I want. That's all I've ever wanted. Give me a trip.
While we're talking about questions, it's getting cold outside, man. Are you a soup guy? You like soup?
I am 100% a soup guy. Massive soup guy.
What's the best soup
for me?
Or
so
your
there's
favorite?
so many good soups.
Give me the best and your favorite.
Yeah, so that depends what rabbit hole we're going down. If we're talking generic soup, okay, I'm gonna go with like a broccoli cheddar or like a loaded potato. Okay, but don't sleep on like the squash, like a butternut squash soup. Pretty damn good.
Do you think I eat butternut squash soup?
I don't think you do. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you're a chicken noodle and a loaded baked potato soup guy. Like
I did just have some loaded baked potato soup. That's what made me ask this question.
Yeah, maybe a tomato soup with a grilled cheese. I could see that. That's the most you're dabbling. But if we're not going generic soup, my favorite is pho. I'm going like a chicken pho, which is technically a soup, like a noodle broth chicken. It's like a chicken noodle soup, but it's spicy. It's got these interesting ingredients. Yeah, I'm a big fan of soup, especially when it's cold.
Oh yeah, I think if I had to pick a favorite, I think I'm just going with like a vegetable soup that's just loaded with as many vegetables as you can put in there, and like my grandma makes it with like beef and just all different kinds of vegetables, and it's nice. It's not and it's healthy-ish. You know what I mean? But broccoli and cheddar, you can't go wrong with a broccoli and cheddar. Like
not healthy, but yes, delicious.
I like so
broccoli and
also,
cheddar, loaded baked potato. Neither of those are healthy.
I had a conversation about pho the other day, which I've never had. And I don't know why. Like, it doesn't look like I love soup. So I feel like that's something I'd be willing to eat. But I'm the type of person where I'm like, if I don't know if I'm gonna like something, I don't really want to spend the money on it. It's different. Like if I'm going out to a restaurant and I can kind of get something random as an appetizer, and if I don't like it, I still got my entree that I know I'm gonna
Mhm.
like. But if I'm going to a pho restaurant and I don't like it, like I'm kind of stuck. You know what I mean? Like that's all there is. So I don't even know where to begin with that.
Just try it once, man. I'm telling you, go to a pho restaurant, any of those little restaurants, and start with some tacos, right? And they're basically like steamed buns with taco, like they're not tacos, but they're steamed buns with like meat and like pickled daikon and like whatever in it. So good, so good. I'm telling you, you'll definitely like that, even if you don't like the pho. So start with that. You'll fill your tummy a little bit. You don't like the pho, it's fine. Just bring it home
This
and
is
eat something else.
this is content right in itself. David tries pho for the first time.
It's good, man. So pho is very it's hard to explain. Like it's not like if you're gonna compare it to the soup that you like, which is like loaded baked potato and like cheddar broccoli or whatever, broccoli and cheddar, it is not like that. It is more of like a broth, like a chicken broth or a beef broth, depending on what you get. Sometimes a
Like a
pork
vegetable
broth.
soup.
Yeah, sort of. But it's got noodles and it's got a
Mhm.
meat of some sort. And it's got like a lot of those Thai? Is it Thai? Shit, I'm just blanking. Spices, which it's so good though.
Yeah,
I'm such a
I
fan.
mean, I'm somebody that likes the miso soup from the from hibachi. So
Okay,
I
then you're
love
good.
soup. I can't I find it hard to believe I wouldn't. Now I'm sure there's certain ones that have things in it where I'm like, I don't want no, like even the miso soup, they put the mushrooms. I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, there ain't.
Like,
Yeah, no, you'll be fine then. You'll be 100% fine. It's phenomenal, and you can add. I typically for me, I'm adding. I love spicy stuff, so I'm adding the chili paste. I'm adding sriracha, and then also I add like a little hoisin, give it a little sweetness, some lemon, we give it a little citrus. You add
okay.
stuff to it. It's kind of like a build your own soup. Like they give you the broth and the noodles and the meat, and if there's vegetables that come in it, like if you order vegetables in it, they'll give you that, but then they also give you all these other things on the side that you can then add in, and it's like, man, it's yeah,
All right.
right up my
I'm
alley.
gonna I have to do this while it's cold and knock this out and go see because I
If you're
feel like
gonna
I'm
go
gonna
a
get hooked.
place, if you're gonna go to a place on the North Shore, there's one place. There's no other good places. We're going together. I'll take you there,
Okay,
and
let's
even
do it.
this one good place is like, it's
I'm with
okay.
it. We can do it.
Yeah.
I'd like to go together because I'm gonna need some guidance here. While we're on food, I want to
Mhm.
know what other foods are on the same tier as pizza. And what I mean by that is all pizza is good. Like it's a food that's hard to get wrong. You know what I mean? But there's different
Yeah.
tiers of pizza. But like if you're drunk, you can go get Bourbon Street Pizza and you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm cool with this, right? But there's different
Yeah.
tiers. So what other foods are like always good, but there's levels to it? Like you can't go wrong ordering it anywhere, but there's levels to it.
Yeah. I think for my first thought is like chicken strips. Very first thought,
Just
like
like
chicken strips, and that's a very basic food, right? Like you can't go wrong.
we're,
Like
we're just like fried chicken in general.
yeah, like fried chicken in general. Like there's some that's like this is not that great, but like it's still fried chicken,
Right.
right? Like it's decent.
What about French fries?
Wings, stuff like that. French fries was another one I was thinking. I don't know, like what else is at? I'm trying to think of like at a restaurant, like what you would get, but like you could probably go down a rabbit hole, like corn dogs, hot dogs, like all these things. Like it's they're all going to be the
This
same regardless of where you go.
What about hamburgers?
I don't think so.
You don't think
That
so?
was actually my very first thought, and then I was like, you could really dry out a hamburger, and it's so bad. Like it's just like
Right.
this ain't like it's not good.
And I'm
It's
also
not
kind
good.
of like pizza also good. Not I don't want to say cold because there's not a lot of foods that are going to be good cold, right? Like after you eat them. But like reheated pizza can still be great. You reheat some chicken the right way, some fried chicken, it can still be great. A hamburger,
Mhm.
you can't reheat a hamburger. Like I don't care how you do it. Like yeah, you could eat it, but it's not ever going to be close to what it was when you first ordered it. I have yet like I've tried to do it all the different ways. You take just the meat, stick it in the air fryer and try and reheat it, do the bun separate. Even with a new bun, like it never comes out the way it was before. Plus you got the condiments that are on the meat, so you're like heating up the meat. It just doesn't work. But
You're not wrong.
I no, I think fried chicken was also my first guess, and then I kind of started trying to think like desserts, maybe ice cream, but I've had some bad ice cream.
Like vanilla ice cream, I guess, is it's
Well,
pretty
look at
basic.
me. I mean, I'm a cookies and cream guy. So
That's what I'm saying though. Like, have you had bad vanilla ice cream? Like, I don't.
Uh,
It's not my first choice, but
I've had, and I don't like. I couldn't even tell you what brand it was, but like I've had vanilla ice cream. It was like one of those like no name brands that I think I was given at a birthday party one time, and I'm like, I don't think I would ever eat this again. Like, but I don't know. Like, I don't venture out when it comes to ice cream. It's Bluebell or like we're not getting ice cream really. Like I like some Ben and Jerry's and stuff too, but for me, it's like it's Bluebell or we're not eating ice cream. Like,
it's fair.
yeah. You said you had other thoughts. Let me hear them before I start diving into, because I do have a sports topic that might get a little bit less serious or a little more serious, I guess. So,
No,
Siri,
no,
what the hell is
no.
going on here?
Oh, the Siri interruption. Let me tell you this. All right, I got a story. So, parents, parents everywhere, as his Siri continues to play things, will understand this story. If you didn't know, you're listening to the Who Effing Knows podcast, and this is a podcast that talks about everything and nothing all at the same time. And the reason the name is Who Effing Knows is because shit like this happens, where Siri just interrupts, and then you hear news stories.
And started playing NPR.
There you go, NPR. Are you a frequent listener of NPR, sir?
No, that's why I'm so confused. What is happening right now? I have never listened to NPR in my life. I don't know what's going on.
So, no, what I was getting at, it just reminded me of a story today. Another day from my, or story from my explosive day. I finally get my daughter down for a nap today in the middle of all of my meetings. She's sleeping for maybe 30 minutes. And then for whatever reason, the house is silent. I'm not even talking anymore. The Alexa decides that it heard, "Hey, Alexa, play the local news." And it starts with, "Bah, bah, bah," and it's like the loudest volume ever. And I'm like, what? And it just starts going into like a video. And I'm like, what is happening? And my daughter she wakes up, comes running out of her room. And I'm like, this is terrible. Anyways, whoever programmed these Alexa shows needs to figure that out, because that was not cool. All right. I did not say a word. No one said a word in my house. And all of a sudden you started playing the local, or not even the local news. It was just news. It might have been NPR for all I know. And I was like, what is this? Stop. And then my daughter was angry all day because she didn't have her nap. So thanks for that.
So funny. All these devices are supposed to have claim to have voice recognition, right? And only work with your voice, yet they go off all the time.
What voice did they hear? Are there ghosts in my house? Let's circle back to this conversation from season 1 with Dave and I about ghosts.
These voices, while they can sometimes be helpful, they're more trouble than they're worth. I'll be honest with you. Like, they hear things when nothing's happening. They're set off by anybody saying their name. They've made it even worse with the iPhone now, where there's not even like a trigger word where it's like, "Hey, blank." It's just, you just say her name, but now she talks to you. And all I said was "serious." Oh, she didn't pop up that time. That would have been great. But yeah. So anything that sounds like their name.
What's gotten creepier is they do somewhat understand your voice, because like I'll ask Alexa to play music or something like that, right? And it'll be like, "Good morning, Patty. Here is blah blah blah." And I'm like, okay, weird. And then I never thought too much into it, because I was like, oh, maybe it says that for, because I'm the only one talking to it. But then my wife one night came home and she was like, "Hey, play Christmas music." And they were like, "Good evening, Victoria." And I was like, first of all, we did not program you to do this. How did this happen? Next topic.
Have you seen what's going on up there in Colorado right now?
I haven't. I saw a few things tweet wise. I haven't really dove into it. I've had a very busy week other than watching Tulane's recruiting. I saw that they got 5 recruits on signing day.
So
it wasn't anything crazy. And I saw the offensive tackle that had decommitted, and I thought that was weird, but I haven't.
Maybe he might.
Maybe. Tell me.
Well, so it's National Signing Day yesterday, right? Every school in the country is going to get a 20-something person class or whatever, and Dion just decides, I'm going to recruit 6 guys. And now he's got the number 1 portal class. Okay, rebuild his entire offensive line through the portal. He's got the number 1 transfer portal class. He only recruits 6, or only signs 6 people So begs the question: Does he care about what happened? A lot going on in this. It's a broad conversation to be had. Number one, what is the correct way to do this? Is he just zigging while everybody's zagging and being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna try to win right now and not really care about what happens down the road, and I'm just gonna try to have the best recruiting or the best portal class every year"? Yeah, these guys can come in and you'll be good this year. Florida State just did it off of portal guys. But there's the argument to be made like, yeah, you should build a foundation with your recruits and then use these transfer portal guys to plug in your holes. So what then there's also these people that are like, yeah, he's given Shador everything he needs this year to be great because he doesn't care what happens beyond that because he won't be there. And that's a whole nother conversation, right? Whether he really cares about what happens to Colorado after Shador leaves because maybe he won't be there. I don't know. Like, I don't really have a question for you. I'm just wondering how you
Like,
feel about that. Like, if Tulane were to be like, yeah, we're not going to worry about recruiting guys. We're just going to go out and get all these guys. Maybe we have a great season now, but if we can't do this again next year, we're kind of screwed.
Yeah. I think the first question is, are they all seniors, right? Like that's my first thought. I don't hate it. I don't hate just working the portal. If you see a guy is talented and built for college football and you want to go get them instead of going to get a guy out of high school that you still need to groom and grow and all these things, fine. You've only got these guys for a certain amount of years anyway. You're going to be working to replace guys every year anyway. If you can continuously replace guys in the portal, which is a crapshoot, it's tough. If you can continuously replace these guys, then who's to say it's wrong? It is what it is. It's a different mindset, but college football is changing, and we see that college football is changing. And it's hard for me to discredit that approach with it being so new. I think it's a little wild, but
yeah. I'm okay with it. Like, listen, and we definitely had this conversation. I have no problem with the transfer portal, NIL, any of it. Like, Tulane just had a bunch of guys leave, right? Like, I don't have a single problem with that. Like, if you think a better situation is out there for you, more power to you. You know, go do what you think you got to do. We'll see if it works out. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I also don't have any problem with coaches just going all in on the transfer portal. Because like I said, Florida State, now it didn't end up working out in the end because the injuries and things happened. They kind of got screwed.
That's a whole other discussion. It technically worked out. Just NCAA didn't think it worked out.
Right. I think, and I hate doing this, but like I don't think I can really give my full thoughts on it until I see what happens 2-3 years down the road. If Dion does this, if this is his strategy every year and he's planning on staying at Colorado and he's going to do this every year, fine. But if this is like what we claim to be like the Sean Payton situation where he wasn't worried about what happened after he was gone. Like if he's just doing this and he's like, I'm not planning, if in his head, and he's never going to admit this, right? But if in his head, he's like, I'm not planning on being here long. So I'm trying to win right now. And whatever happens after I'm gone, so be it. Like if that's the plan, I don't like that. I don't like operating like that. I feel like you're doing the kids that are on the roster kind of dirty. But if that's the strategy every year, I don't know if it's going to work, but like, fine. As long as he's planning on being there. I don't like when coaches leave a program high and dry. Like that it doesn't sit right with me in the NFL, but it definitely doesn't sit right with me in college. Cause like you have a responsibility to these kids, whether they want to admit it or not. We heard Coach Sumrall talk about it with the kids at Troy. Like you have a responsibility to them. And I hope that that's not what he's doing to the kids at Colorado.
Yeah, I agree. And it's difficult too, because a lot of the times the coaches will play the game and pretend that they are there for the players and they're doing all these things. Dion's not playing that game. So, but he's also not saying, hey, I'm only doing this for, the next few years and then I'm gone. Yeah, it's tough. And there's been a lot of coaches who have done that. I'm willing to take a step back, like you said, and see it out, see what comes of it. If they win, this is kind of like the NFL or NBA or any of these equivalent conversations, right? Are you willing to go all in for 1 or 2 years to see if you can get to the promised land and then have 5-6 years of mediocrity as you rebuild? Maybe he's looking at it as, hey, I have Shador. He fully believes Shador is a top level talent, and I need to put all the pieces around him I can. And then whatever happens after that, we're going to figure it out. Yeah, maybe that's his mindset. And then he gets to the figure it out phase and he's like, I don't want to do this. Who knows? But it's hard to I guess dive into without knowing.
Like you can the reasoning for it. Like Dion's not, he can't handle being a bad team for 2 years in a row. Like he's not a loser. Like he can't handle that. So you see why he's going to get these guys that he thinks are going to help him win now. The puzzling part is this isn't like the NFL where if you trade all your draft picks away to sign, like if you go all in in the NFL, you're going all in for this year. Like you can't really play both sides where you're building for the future and going all in this year. In college football, you could do both. Like you could go all in on the transfer portal, but still recruit for the future. And like he's Dion, he can get, and even though he had a bad team, we've already seen it. He can get these guys to come play for him. So it's like I don't really understand why you ignore the other side when it can be done. Unless he just fully focused on one thing, and I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. It's weird, but like I said, college football's changing, and sometimes there's something to somebody like zigging while the other teams are zagging.
Well, I think also it could be a bit premature. I mean, we're in early signing day, right? Like,
True.
He's still got a little time here. Like, we'll see how it plays out and what his strategy is going to be. Like, I don't think he's ignorant to knowing he has to fill out a roster with quality players. Like, he's going to figure that part out.
He's filling it out. That's not the issue. He's filling it out with quality players. Well, the thing with Dion is I don't think we're going to have to wait to find out his reasoning because he's going to go somewhere and tell you why he's doing it. I mean, and the way he talked about his offensive lineman all season, like I think it's expected to be like to not expect him to go get a freshman lineman and wait for him to be able to play for 2 or 3 years. Like you knew he was going to get guys that could play right now, especially when they're responsible for protecting his son.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I 100% get it. Listen, this is the same guy that recruited the number one prospect a couple years ago and brought him to Jackson State. Like, I don't have a doubt that he can recruit guys, right? Like, I think he'll figure it out, and hopefully he puts other guys around him that will also go recruit guys and fill out the roster for the future. We'll see. I don't have a lot of issues with it at the moment, but let's see what happens next year, and let's see how the team performs, and we'll take it from there.
I've been so interested, and like I'm sure you could tell because I bring it up all the time. I'm so interested in how the transfer portal is affecting things, and just like I'm not somebody. I mean, besides like my own teams, I'm not somebody that really watches a ton of college football. Like I watch, but like I don't tune into every big college football game. But like all of this has kind of just renewed my interest in college football and like the behind the scenes aspect of it. Like I'm so into how what is happening in the transfer portal, what is happening with NIL stuff. Like, I don't know what makes me like, I don't know if it's because I'm like a business minded person that part, the business aspect of it makes me so intrigued by it, but I'm not, it's really, I don't know. I'm so into college football now.
I think it's very interesting. I love the transfer portal. I know there's a lot of people that don't because they feel like it's just the Wild West and it's basically free agency because there's really no laws. Like there's no rules around it. It's what it is. I love it though, man. Like I love that this almost creates parity in a way, or if not parity, it creates hope. Because what happens is you have these 5-star quarterbacks that go to USC. Now I'm singling people out that go to USC. They're there for a year, and then they're like, "Hey, I'm going to transfer," and they're this former top whatever recruit, and every team in the nation is like, "Oh, can we get that guy? We need that guy. We need a quarterback. Can we get him?" So it's so exciting to think, "Oh, I can get this guy." So when I look at it, it's like to me, it's almost the same as recruiting out of high school. Mm-hmm. Maybe you have a guy that's more polished. Maybe you have a guy that's been in a program for another year. You still have 3 years of eligibility. You could figure it out. If you get a guy with 3 years of eligibility and then he starts for 3 years, you got 2 years to figure it out. You know, you got 2 more years to recruit people and get other guys in the building, get other transfers. Like it just is what it is. I think it's just a whole nother avenue, and it's so exciting and interesting to every team, not just these power teams. I mean, it goes both ways. Like you see Chris Brazel. I always got his name wrong. Going from Tulane now and jumping to Tennessee, and then you get guys dropping from big programs to other programs. Who was the guy that just went to Nebraska? Right, like there was a top recruit that just a quarterback who just transferred to Nebraska.
Dylan Raiola. Well, that's his. There's some things going on there. His dad's on the staff and all these different things. No, I'm fine. Like I have no issue with it. But like that, there's all kinds of things like that. What the reasoning is of why he did it. But yeah, you talk about like hope. Like not only does it give the hope of like the USC quarterback, Malachi Nelson, like, there's the rumors with Tulane. Not only does it give Tulane hope that, hey, maybe we can get this guy because he feels like he's got to kind of prove that he's still that kind of recruit or whatever. But what if they do that paired with a 12-team playoff? You want to talk about hope. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it could change. Absolutely. And like, I do not understand the people that just hate the transfer portal. Like, everybody talks about, oh, these kids don't want to commit to anything. Like, imagine you apply for a job, right? And they tell you all these things like, yeah, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that. This is what your job's going to be like. And you go for a year and you're like, this is not at all what I was told I was going to get. Or like, it's just not as good as you thought it was going to be. You see a better job out there. You telling me you're going to stick with this and not try to go to
a better job that also offers you money or more money. Like,
right.
You're not going to take that?
Yeah. And not even money. Like some of these guys, like Chris is going to Tennessee because he's going to get more eyes on him to make money in the future. Right. Like so compare that to the chance of promotion. You know what I mean? And yeah, I know what you're thinking, but
I was going to say, you're going to tell me this man to get paid to cut, like, and I'm all for it. I don't mind. Right. I get it. But like, there's I think the thing is there's multiple reasons now. Like there's recruitment with money attached, which is, kids care about a lot of things, and they can be sold on a lot of things. They can be sold on the future of the NFL. They can be sold on the education. They can be sold on the city. They can be sold on the coaching staff that's going to put them in the right position. And then if you attach that to, hey, and by the way, you're also going to make $500,000 this year, it's a no-brainer in some situations. Or they're more willing to go to this school because they're going to make more money, or they're more willing to go to this school because they have a chance at the pros versus, it's a gamble, and they can figure out what their best strategy is. And I love that. Now, do we want to put that pressure on 19-year-old and 20-year-old people, kids, young adults? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. They're definitely the conversation of whether there should be rules and, things like that in place for everybody. It definitely needs to be had. Like, there definitely needs to be some kind of governance about all of this, because it, like, just to look out for the kids. Like, some of these kids are already getting screwed. Like, they're getting brought to these schools with promises and then they don't get fulfilled and, whatever. But that's another conversation. I think there's also the conversation of, like, some of these guys play for, like, small high schools that don't really get recruited. Like, I'm not trying to take any shots at Tulane, right? We're all Tulane fans, but, like, sometimes Tulane's the only school that has come see you. Like, maybe Tennessee doesn't come see Chris when he's playing in high school, right? So they don't know about him. There's 1,000 kids out there every year, so for them to miss on somebody or not be able to find somebody, it's like understandable. So you go to Tulane,
right?
And as sad as it is, it's kind of like a minor league situation right there for him to go to the SEC. Now, some guys are willing to stick it out and build Tulane into a program, or think Tulane can be a big program. And not just singling out Tulane again, just any smaller school, like some guys are willing to stick it out, but then, like, in his head, maybe he's like, man, I wanted to play for the SEC my whole, like, childhood. Right. And finally the SEC got their eyes on me. I'm going, and I respect it. Like, I have no problem with anybody that does that.
No, I hate it at all. I think you look at it sometimes as a fan and it hurts your feelings. And I've said this in the past as a Tulane fan, like, sometimes things hurt your feelings because you're the ugly stepchild, right? Like, in a sense, that's a bad way to put it, but that's kind of what it is, right? I think you need to appreciate what it is. Like, the program is building, and through the program being built, you're going to have good guys come and go. And the fact that those good guys are now going to other places means that you're taking the right steps. And I know people are going to look at that and be like, well, but they left. Yeah, they left, but they also helped bring more stability. They helped make more people have eyes on the program. And now you're going to get more people like that guy who are then going to be looking for their next step. And eventually, if you continue to win, you continue to build, you're going to be in a power conference. It's a very long road, but you're going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And then you're not going to have to worry about it anymore. Now, the world we live in, everybody wants this, they want this, like, gratification now. And it's not always going to happen.
Yeah. And that was something I tried to harp on last week, when I was talking about Coach Summerall coming to Tulane and everything. Like, this season may take a step back relative to what it's been the last 2 years. Can still be a good season by all accounts, right? But it may take a step back because of all of this, but you got to be patient with college. Like this whole new version of college football is just getting started. So like you got to be patient and play out this long game and see where it ends up. And like I said, I think it's going to end up being good for not only Tulane. I think more small school, like all these AAC schools. Like you already seen it. SMU's getting the bump. UTSA is good. Like all these small schools are getting better, and I think it's only going to work out more in their favor.
No, I think the doors are definitely open. I think the 12-team playoff opens a lot of doors to, like I said, parity. Now, some of these small schools get in, they play a team like Bama and a 12 versus 1 seed. Like it might be ugly, but they're there and they're relevant. And let them upset a number 1 seed and see what happens. And then from there, it's all bets are off.
Yeah,
and that's awesome.
It's only a matter of time before it may not happen in the first year, but it's gonna happen at some point. I'm sure when they made the basketball tournament, they were like, "Oh, this whatever seed, the 16 seed is never gonna be the 1 seed," and it may have taken years, but it happened. So
it happened.
Just wait.
We've seen it. Yeah, I was going to talk Tulane. We did it. That's awesome. Hey, shout out to you too for last week. I know I said it earlier. Shout out to you for last week, man. Just carrying the load. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the topics. I enjoyed the stuff I saw. Hopefully everybody else did as well. You guys continue to follow along. We really appreciate it. Everybody who sticks with us, give us feedback. I appreciate that as well. Studio's coming. I know I keep saying that. So pretty soon, once our schedules get right, you'll start seeing us in person again.
I don't know if you've ever.
Studio.
I don't know if you ever mentioned on here that you were doing that. You may have just broke some news.
I haven't. Maybe I just broke some news. Studio's coming, guys. I have a studio I've been building, and it's coming. I'm sorry if I ruined the surprise. Aside from that, though, man, the No Network in general, we're continuing to build. The no.com, youtube.com/@beinthe-no. State of the Pels is on there. We got Off the Dome. We still got Talking That. Yeah, we got a bunch. Who's your boys? I'm failing on them. That's what I'm thinking of, and I love them. Formally Informal, love them. Yeah, just a ton of stuff, man. We just finished a very fun Saints recap. We got Pels stuff we do all the time. I said that. But yeah, just follow us everywhere. It's a blast.
A ton of ideas in the chamber also for more content. So.
Yeah, that baseball pod. That's coming. It's been kind of, you guys have seen it.
I forget about that one. Yeah. Somehow I forget about that one.
Well, that's yours. So
I don't know.
Maybe there's more too. I don't know. Might have other stuff. You want to talk about CM Punk? Let's do it. Yeah.
That's all I got.
TV. Man. That's it.
I'm sorry. I just want to apologize. I'm sorry. I had nothing for you on that.
It's okay. It's okay, man. We all fall. What do we? Shit. I can't think of my quotes. What do we tell the God of death?
Not today.